guys, Elaine Lingard has written an incredible book. It is called Master Your Times Tables, and you can see it right behind her there in her picture, right on over there. Woot woot. I love it. And she's going to share with us today what was that process that she went through as she was going through and trying to figure out how to write a book. And this is actually one of the things too that I have done as well. I've created a course for people, and I totally forget the courses that I've created so far on how to take your ideas and turn them into a book. So if you guys are interested, you can learn more
Exactly.
about that in the link. I'll put a description. But what inspired you? We'll go back to the beginning. What inspired you to write a book about mastering times tables?
Well, most of the children who come to work with me for maths struggle with their times tables, and I found myself always using the same strategies with them, and it was repeating the process with lots of different children. I decided to make a course because I thought there are so many children who would benefit from this. Certainly the ones that come to work with me definitely did. And I put out a little beta course last year, and that inspired me to write the book. I thought I would have, originally my plan was a workbook to go with it, but this more or less mirrors some of the concepts that I touch on in the course, some of the strategies and tricks and tips and things like that. So I'm trying to remember what I was saying to you earlier on. The process actually was beyond me to begin with, so I had to do a bit of research on how to go about getting a book published. So I found a lady in England, wonderful, wonderful girl called Claire Clark, who runs a course specifically to help you write a book and get it published on Amazon. I can pass the link on for that later on for anyone who's interested. And she had a modular course, very similar to the ideas you use yourself in your courses, Joanne, where we just walked our way through. So instead of this big, phenomenal, overwhelming concept of getting a book out there, it was in really simple steps about planning and going through the design process and thinking of your keywords and your content, breaking it down into manageable chunks to write it, going through the draft process, getting a draft copy. I was shown earlier on my draft copy here. This is the proof copy, so you get one of these sent to you, not for resale. So it's my precious one I'll keep forever because it was my first one. And, just going through the process of holding your book in your hands for the first time after all of the work that you put into it is just amazing. Now, I had to juggle everything because I'm sure I've told you this before, but I've just finished my master's degree. I've just finished it this week.
Oh
So
my gosh,
I know.
congratulations.
So it was like juggling full-time tutoring, being mum, being wife, doing the course, my master's course, and squeezing in little pockets of time here and there to just go through the content and know what I wanted to write. So it really was looking at my course, looking at how I'd structured the course and making the content match and finding pockets of time.
I know. So how did you find those pockets of time?
Do you know, it's like 10 minutes between classes, or when I sit down to have a coffee, little things like that, or 10 minutes spare if someone cancelled a lesson on me, anything like
Yeah.
that, So all of those little bits of time soon add up,
Yeah,
and
they
you
do.
can make such good use of them if you
Yep.
really put your mind to it, can't you?
Yeah, you absolutely can, and I think that's so important. That's like one of the things that I do whenever I have a student that cancels. It's still work time for me. Like it's never a
Mm.
time for me to be like, oh, well, they didn't show up, so this is let me go upstairs to how everybody's doing up there, and make sure everybody's okay. I mean, they're definitely okay there. they can all take care of themselves. They don't need me anymore, right? But that's time I've set aside to work, so they weren't expecting me anyway, so I might as well get work done. There's always a list, right? There's always a to-do list. So
Indeed.
look at what are those things that you can knock out very quickly and be able to do during that time. So I think that's awesome that you took a look at where in your schedule those pieces were so that you could knock it out, and it was absolutely possible, even with an extremely full schedule of tutoring and doing your masters and going through the course for creating a book and all those things. It's a lot on your plate, and there's so many times. I mean, you have 3 kids, right, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of people don't they can use any one of those things as a reason not to do something like this. But instead, you have put that aside and you're like, "No, like that's not going to be an obstacle for me." Did you run into any other challenges or obstacles as you're writing the book?
Oh, definitely. Time is always the biggest challenge for me. It's just one of those things that I think I'll permanently be fighting. But, you make it work for you. There are always ways to make it work. Now, I did have some other obstacles, and I'm guessing it's probably because of my location. I'm based in Ireland, and I have to use amazon.co.uk when publishing. Now, because of Brexit, we had lots of issues with things being available and things being unavailable, and it took probably a delay of about maybe a month and a half, 2 months to get things accessible for everybody, and a lot of emails and phone calls and things. But these things happen when you've got things like that to deal with. But the actual content and writing process, just having everything laid out for you step by step just makes it very, very doable. So,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
weren't any problems in that respect.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just take it one step at a time, right? It's not like Rome wasn't built in a day, and if you've ever tried to write a book, it won't be written in a day either. Now, did you
Nope.
illustrate the book yourself? Who illustrated your book?
The cover was designed for me by Claire's team. And I took some of the ideas that I wanted. I wanted something that looked fun and colourful for children. So I gave them some ideas that I wanted to use in a design, and they put this together, and I think it's such a fun cover. And the back as well has got some information and a little QR code there to take you to my course.
Oh, great.
Which is interesting. Then it's got my socials and my website and things like that you can find me on. So it's the illustrations. I'll just quickly show you some of the content inside. There's a lot of QR codes to take you to worksheets and so on. But a lot of the images that are in here were really on Canva. So using Canva to help build pages was extremely easy. Easy. Let me just find one.
And then you didn't
here.
have to then note every single person who ever made every single image and give them credit, which that would be so annoying.
Exactly. Now, there are also some links to games and tests and things like that you can do online. So using QR codes is definitely the way forward for this sort of content, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's so fun and unique. I haven't seen that too much with the QR codes inside of the book to take them to additional resources and tools. So that's so cool. What a unique and amazing ability to take that thought and build it further. And are you able to, do you have things in there too that get people like on your email list as well so that they can learn about additional things?
Yeah, no, there's something right at the back of the book as well to guide you towards my world and the other things that I do. So, it's a case of selling everything about your business. So the book really should be another cog in your wheel, shouldn't it? It should be something that helps drive people towards the other stuff that you offer. So it is really an extra tool for you, isn't it?
It is, it's an extra tool, you guys, and so, I mean, you could choose to use the tool or not choose to use the tool, but people like you and I are choosing to use the tool and make it work for us in the best way possible. I don't ever see, like, my books as being, like, the big income maker for my business, but additional awareness about my business, almost like a much more valuable business card.
It certainly is. I mean, I've had other people who have, for instance, I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago, and I had my stall out and my books and my big roll up banner behind me and so on. And a lady came over and started talking to me about the book and what I did, and she did a little a little snap of my QR code on my banner. And then she came back to me to get some other services that I offer. So the
Mm,
book brought her into
yes.
my world for other things too. So it's definitely a really good option to add to your repertoire, isn't it?
It is, and I think it really is a huge credibility boost.
It
Huge
sets you out as
credibility
an
boost.
expert in your field for sure, doesn't it?
Yep, it does. It sets you apart from everybody else out there. And if, I think the world in online tutoring is going to get noisier and noisier and noisier. And anything that you can do to really make yourself stand out, look different, be different is going to be who wins this game. And I think that is really, really key. While you were writing
Absolutely.
this book, were you writing the book mainly for the students and the children that are struggling or for parents?
It's a bit of column A and a bit of column B. Now,
Ah.
I've been asked, is this a book that children can sit down and work through on their own, or is it a book that a parent has to guide them through? And the answer is both. Now, this is written in such a way that even when you have parents who say, I can't do maths, I can't do this will help them as well. So they're working with the child, or they can help guide the child, or the child can work independently. It's just written in such a way that it's accessible for everyone.
I
And
love
that was
it.
key to the way I put it together to make it different from what's already out there.
Now, how did you come up with this month-long program idea?
Well, when you start looking at patterns in the multiplication tables and how lots of uh, things are repeated, lots of ideas are repeated in patterns. So, if you know the twos, you know the fours because you're just doubling up, aren't you? And if you know the
Hmm.
fives and the tens, you've got the link with those. What I did was I grouped together everything that could be learned together. And when you look at the times table square, you're only learning half of it, aren't you? Because the facts are all duplicated.
Hmm.
And I think at the beginning of the book, there was actually a page on that. I will quickly show you that. It is right here. So we're just looking at the fact that we know half of it already.
Yep.
So that, right at the beginning of the book, just gives everyone a boost, thinking, wow, I don't know have to learn all of that after all. Way, excellent.
Right?
So
Right.
we just highlight as we go through. I've highlighted the facts each time so they can see it's like a countdown of the ones that are still to learn. So by the time they go into the harder tables, they've already learned most of that table because they've learned the lower half of them, if you like.
Sure.
So
Yeah. And that totally makes sense because 2 times 9 is 18, but 9 times 2 is 18 as well, right? So,
exactly. So it's learning about that commutativity fact,
mhm.
isn't it? So
Yeah.
I've done that right from the beginning in this so that children can see that they don't need to be afraid of the higher times tables. And then we've got the silly things that are in here too, which it's the thing I think I like the best about teaching times tables. I teach them really silly little rhymes to help them remember the difficult facts. So
Oh,
one of our
nice.
favourites, say, I was sick on the floor. 8 times 8 is 64. Children love this sort of stuff,
Yes.
They never forget when you teach them something silly like that, So the
Yeah.
book is full of little things like that that are going to help them remember.
Aw, that's really sweet and awesome. Oh my gosh. What kind of feedback have you received from people who have seen your book so far?
Really good, actually. It's really positive. I've had several people message and say they're really impressed with, how easy it is for the child to just get on and have a look through it on their own, or other people commenting on, they love the illustrations and things like that. So the feedback's been really positive so far. So I'm
You
really
have put
pleased with it.
so much work into this, and it looks like such an incredible tool. I mean, this could be useful as well for other tutors as well, right? To be able to use with their students. So you
Yeah.
guys definitely take a look, grab a copy of her book so that you guys can check it out because this is really, really great stuff. Now, where can they find your book?
Right. Now I will pass on the code that we can link into the call underneath later on, but it's available on Amazon. If you wanted to just search, you can write in Master Your Times Tables in a Month and even pop my name, Elaine Lingard, on there, and you should be able to find it quite easily.
I love it. So just type that on in, you guys, and you will be able to find it in Amazon, the number one place to be able to go shopping. No, I'm, I
Isn't it bad?
literally, it's so incredible, you guys. I mean, everybody knows about Amazon by now, thank goodness. But you remember when Amazon first came out, people were like really scared about it. It was almost like ChatGPT, right? They're like, no, I'm not gonna get into Amazon, and they're gonna have my information, and I'm not gonna buy stuff on there. I don't trust putting my credit card inside of a portal, and oh my gosh. But honestly, I don't know how many people could live without Amazon today and how quickly
I
they get stuff to you.
was, yeah, I was just about to say that. I think I'd be lost without Amazon, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. And the fact that people like us can take advantage of this for our own business because Amazon, you guys, you don't have to have any books on you. You can be selling books that Amazon then prints on demand and sends on out to the customers for you. So it's a completely hands-off like method. And I'm like, bring it. Like, especially if you're using this as like a way to get the word on out there about your business and what it is that you do and be able to help kids in the entire process. I mean, this is so, so wonderful. So other tutors that are beginning to think about, "Oh, this sounds like so much fun. I would love to be able to write a book, or I've always wanted to write a book, but I never took the time to do it." What kind of advice could you give them um, that would help them succeed?
Just make sure you know what your content is. Make sure that you have mapped out what you want to include in your book. It's not a difficult process to go through. I originally used just a notebook and did a rough draft handwritten so that I knew what I wanted on each page. And that really made it simple for me. It was just a case of taking that and digitizing it, if you like, So
Yeah,
it was,
storyboarding. Yeah,
yeah, storyboarding
yeah,
in a little notebook. So it
yeah.
was really simple to do in that respect. So yeah, now it can be really simple if you break it down into really low tech ways to start with, and then just take it from there to use tools like Canva to help you with the design process, and you can certainly design your covers and so on there too.
Yeah, yeah, and or you could hire somebody to do it for you too. I mean, there are cheap resources and tools like Fiverr where somebody will for like 5 or 10 bucks design a cover for you and that piece then is done. You just tell them exactly what it is that you want and it's almost like
Hmm.
ChatGPT. The more specific you are about what it is that you want it to look like, the better the result is going to be.
Exactly.
Um, and I think that's kind of a good way to go. The other strategy too, if you're going to outsource book covers, is and go through Fiverr or something like that. Hire 3 people and choose your favorite. That's what is it? It's $100, right? Like you spend $100 to like have somebody create like a cover for you, but your cover is what is going to sell your book. So a good cover is a make or break, and you want to invest the money into that cover for sure. And you've done a beautiful job with your cover and the people that you had help you with your cover. It looks fantastic. Um, do you have any future projects in mind that you're going to be doing or future books that you're going to write?
I do. I've actually started. I'm in the middle of a little series of maths test books. Okay,
Okay.
so it will be the sort of resource that parents can buy to check if their 8-year-old is on track or their 12-year-old is on track and so on. So
Sure.
they'll be age related, and they'll be probably within, I would hope, within the next 6 months, they'll be available on Amazon as well. So
Yay!
keep your eyes open.
It's so addicting, isn't it? Yeah, like, you go through the process once and you're like, "Well, I might as well do this again with, like, another resource or tool, and I might as well like, now that I know how to do it, there's nothing stopping me from whatever it is that I wanna create." So, congratulations on putting your book out there. Thank you for sharing your journey with us on what were the steps that you took when you went through this process, and really the hope and the inspiration that you've given other people who are thinking about this. You guys, this is make or break. I did this back in 2012, okay? And it still makes me money on Amazon, the books that I have written. So even without me like doing a full push advertising, and it lets people know that you exist. So awesome stuff. Thank you for joining us, Elaine. I know that you're super busy. And so I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us and talk about your book. And you guys, grab her book on Amazon. It is helpful. Or if you know a parent who has a younger child or anyone really in their life that is struggling with their math facts, get it. Math facts and knowing them quickly is a game changer. I don't care if we've got calculators or the speediest technology, kids still need to know their math facts because they're going to feel more confident, they're going to feel smart, and they're going to feel capable when it comes to the harder math. So, thanks you guys for joining us
Absolutely.
today, and we will see you later on.